Okay. Um, Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm Julie Power. I am a patient advocate, and am very involved with Vasculitis Ireland Awareness and Vasculitis International. I'm very pleased to be here talking to you here today, and I'm really glad that Dr. Salan was in front of me and was able to explain to you what a patient registry is, because my talk is going to be about a research project that we have been involved in called FairVas. And basically, this research project was like a proof of concept to see could we build registry interoperability to inform clinical care. So, could we get different patient registries to talk to one another? So, our challenge was that there are vasculitis registries scattered throughout Europe, throughout the world, but they were not talking to each other. And so, therefore, we were not fully utilising all the information that we had. So, you all are aware we're rare, so we're small, few in number, but the more we can increase these numbers, the better and more valid the information will be. So, our solution was that we were federating registries, we were getting registries to talk to each other and to act as one using a semantic web technology. I'm not going to explain what that semantic web technology is because it's just too detailed. But we were connecting the registries through a web interface, but the data, the personal data of each individual patient would sit within their local hospital or their local clinic. So it didn't leave that. So any of the information that we work with that is interoperable, that is all anonymised. At the moment, we have 7 countries aligned. We have Ireland, Sweden, France, Germany, the Czech Republic, Poland, and just recently we were joined by Italy. So, to give you an idea of the kind of numbers we can now work with, we now have a total of 5,000 ANCA-associated vasculitis cases, and this number is growing. So, the requirements that each registry had to have to be able to join, so that we could get them talking to each other, there was no specific data structure needed, but we did prefer to have the UVAS model of a registry. We had to have local ethics approval for the sharing of data. It was really important to us to make sure for the patient population that their data was being stored properly. It was going to be used ethically. It was not going to be abused, that they knew exactly who that information was being shared with. The different institutes had to sign joint controller data agreements to make sure that that information was only being used as part of the FairVas project. And we had to have data harmonisation to the FairVas ontology and the hosting of a service with an exposed endpoint for federated data querying. So basically, that means that we had to get all the data talking the same language so that we could make the best use of the data. So this is what the web interface looks like. I agree, it's very hard to see it. But basically, this interface gives us the access to aggregated data. It currently counts and rates, though more complex privacy-preserving statistics are explored, and there is no subject level data exposed. There is no personal data exposed. So, just to give you an idea, we can, we would have details of a query option. So you might select, the Republic of Ireland, and you might select that you want to look at gender, the diagnosis, and you might want to look at the Czech Republic registry as well. So you want to stratify the results, so you pick maybe gender and diagnosis. Okay. Another query you can run is you can look at complication types that can happen within vasculitis. So in this example, we've picked cardiovascular, but you can see you could also have infection rates, malignancy, thromboembolism, severity. It was a severe complication, the maximum time in years for the first complication and the date of diagnosis. So you can see there are different variations there that we can use to query. Another query option would be, like death and end-stage kidney disease. I remember saying to the team, this is very morbid. Like for a patient, we're looking at death and end-stage kidney disease, but we do need these numbers. We do need these to be able to anticipate care. So this is an example of a query. So return the number of deaths within the first year, between first and second years, between second and fifth years, and after fifth year. So you can see that it is divided it up, like the group that we had identified the different times, the numbers of deaths, the total follow-up time, and then the mortality rate. Our achievements to date. We have a data quality assessment of the FairVas registries. It has been designed and implemented through a standardised data quality protocol. So this is the European Rare Disease Registry infrastructure. It has legal and ethical profiling. It has registry interoperability. We can see risk classification and ANCA-associated vasculitis. We have onboarding of new registries, and we have had several publications in medical and computing journals. I'm not sure if you're aware of, the FairVas. Fair is, F is for findable. So the information needs to be easily found by both human and computer. The information needs to be accessible. It needs to be authenticated. It needs to be interoperable, so make sure that, each of the registries speaks the same language and that it's easily shared, that this information is very easily shared, and the information needs to be reusable. So those were very important factors for us. When I was reviewing my presentation, I thought, I have left out about why is this important to a patient? So I'm going to ramble a little bit here at this slide. This type of information for a patient is really important because it will start to identify patterns of disease progression. It will give us an idea of what treatments work and what treatment regimes work, because sometimes it's not the treatment, the regime might need to be tweaked, and it gives us an idea of that. It gives us an idea of where the different types of vasculitis are more prevalent. More information on what kind of complications we can anticipate. And if we can anticipate these things, then we can do, more to try and avoid those complications happening. All this information helps us with further research. We're actually using some of the information from this project now in another project that we're doing, and we're looking at, I suppose, the first stages towards personalised medication. So, but the immediate thing for us will be reducing drug burden, so reducing the amount of steroid that we are exposed to, that we're not exposed to particular drugs for longer than we really need to be. So from a patient perspective, those things are really important for us. Another project that is spun off from this one was we are now looking at the blood samples in more detail, or not necessarily blood, looking at the samples in more detail. So we are now able to start finding new biomarkers that will give us a more accurate indication of when somebody's in a flare, that they can get their treatment quicker, all those types of information. So at the end of the day, all this information and being part of a registry at the end of the day will help us have a better quality of life. So now I'll carry on with the original presentation. So the future of FairVas, this project was from 2019 right through to last year. We have a really dedicated team, and we were all very sorry whenever the funding stopped, to the extent that we have decided to carry on and look for more funding. So we are looking for more funding to continue our work. We have an ad interim steering group in place which has very active patient representation. And just recently we have got included in the UVAS legal structure so that we can still remain legal. I have some QR codes here. I'm not sure if you'll be able to access them there, but that will give you more information on the FairVas project. You'll see the FairVas website. The FairVas ontology is basically like a glossary of terms that we use just to make sure that we are all referring to the same thing within the different registries. And then the FAIR principles for scientific data. I'm not going to read this all out. I'm just trying to show you how many people are involved in this consortium, and we are Europe-wide. We have a lot of different doctors from a lot of different disciplines. You'll see the registry representatives, and then we have the clinical science team. We have an IT, semantic web and federated learning team who are fantastic because they talk a very different language to us, but they're very good at sitting down and helping explain to us what the different things mean. We have patient advocacy in the consortium, and we also have legal and ethical aspects covered within the consortium, and this has been very helpful for us, you know, like in being able to get the registries to be able to talk to each other. So from us all in FairVas, thank you very much for the opportunity to share our work with you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
¿Alguna pregunta para Julie Power?
No.
So everything looks clear. Thank you very much.